This is Steve
That's
Downs,
cool.
the voice of Master Chief, Spartan 117.
We going?
Welcome to Quality Time, the KO Koala Entertainment podcast. Anthony and Skylar will take it from here. Master Chief, out.
Hello and welcome to Koality Time, the KO Koala Entertainment Podcast. I'm Skylar Sokol.
And I am Anthony Nicolosi.
And I'm Joshua Broncoli.
Ooh, he is.
Who the hell is Joshua Broncoli?
The third elusive member of, it's like if you've ever played Pokemon, we are the three legendary Pokemon, and Josh is sort of the Moltres?
What?
Okay, I'll
Josh
take
is
it.
the Moltres? Who are you?
Skylar's kind of the Articuno.
I'll take Articuno.
I think I'll...
You can be the Zapdos?
Zapdos.
All right.
Yeah.
I died to Stealth Rock, apparently.
Yeah, you died of Stealth Rocks. All right, anyway. What are we talking about today, Anthony? Anthony's been wanting to talk about this topic for a while. I made him wait because I was like, we got to get the official PS5 price announcements first. Now we got them, and so it's time to talk.
So last week we talked about, as Skylar said, the news, right? That we now have a picture of what this, I think, 8th generation of consoles is going to look like from Microsoft and Sony, at least. Nintendo, as always, doing whatever the fuck they want. So we have for Sony, they're offering a $400 console. It's an all digital edition of the PS5, one with disc. That's $500. And then on the Xbox side of things, the Xbox Series X, slightly better specs than the PS5 equivalent with a disc tray at $500. And then the Series S with significantly downgraded specs, still with ray tracing and a bunch of other goodness, but that at $300. There's also a couple of new Microsoft is offering monthly payment plans for people. We've got the involvement of Game Pass. And so the discussion arose between us where we were saying, okay, long has the argument been had of, hey, consoles, PC gaming is, a more premium experience. That's where you get your Ferrari quality entertainment gaming experience. But consoles are cheaper. And you get a trade-off in quality, but they're more affordable and in some ways more accessible and easier for the consumer. What we've talked ourselves, because I primarily play on console. I think Josh and Skylar is almost entirely PC. He's got a Nintendo.
I got Switch.
Right?
I play on Switch a bunch, but yeah, it's mostly PC, yes.
Josh, you're similar, right?
I am similar, although I do also have a PlayStation. I have a Switch, I have PC, and I have a PlayStation. I will be honest, I have spent probably the most time on my Switch.
Okay. So we need that. What the fuck's it like over there on Nintendo Island perspective for sure. But yeah, for me, I play almost entirely on Xbox. I have a gaming laptop that I use for development, and I have played some, like right now I've been streaming Doom. I've been playing that on PC. So I play some stuff on PC, but I consider Xbox to be the primary place I play games. And more importantly, the reason why I haven't invested, more importantly to this conversation, the reason why I haven't really invested in the gaming PC. For me, so the way maybe we can start this is, now that we know the prices of the current generation, let's use as an example what the cost for me, let's first say just an Xbox person is going to cost, starting this generation. I tomorrow will be trying to pre-order. We'll see if I'm successful, a Series S, which is $300. And then I will be trying, in addition to that, I'll also be subscribing to Game Pass, okay? Something that is definitely optional, especially on PC. And of course on Switch, just not a thing. So I will, over the course of the next 2 years, I am planning to do the Xbox All Access plan, which is $25 a month for both access to the console and Game Pass. It shakes out to be about $600 over the course of those 2 years. Okay. So now tell me, from my perspective, one of the reasons why I haven't jumped into PC gaming is, for me personally, the investment I would want to make into PC gaming is to give me something significantly better than what I can get on console, right? Like that's like the motivation behind jumping ship. I have found that for me to make that investment, it's going to be roughly $1,500 to $1,800 for something that significantly pushes me above what's available right now for console.
Just from a specs perspective, though, correct? All you're talking about right now is hardware specs, like performance running, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, because there's a lot of other things beyond that change when you move to PC from console.
So elaborate on that, please.
Well, just the available game variety is significantly higher on PC than it is on any other platform.
And you don't have to pay for multiplayer.
That's another good one. But yeah, just the variety of games available on PC is huge, right? There are tons of indie games that only come out on PC. There are a lot of games that come out on PC before and then come out to console later, right? PC has access to a ton of games that consoles just don't have. And generally, those games come cheaper on PC than they do on console.
And what do you mean by that? Because somebody who's looking from the outside, they look like they're the same price.
Yeah, I mean, almost every game now, indie game when it launches on Steam, is on sale on launch. Like most of these games that MSRP at $15-$20 are like $12 for the $15 game, $17,
really?
$18 for the $20 game on launch.
How come?
Because they get more sales, yeah.
Just to make it more
to encourage people to buy it, yeah.
It's a discount.
Another huge thing you get is access to early access games. This doesn't really happen on console as much, but on Steam, a lot of games come out like a year or even 2 years before or even 7 years in the case of Factorio, before they're released in full, and you could play them and participate in the development of them, the improvement of them, and just have the games long before they ever see anything that's not the PC. And generally get them for a really cheap price before they're released, because those games usually potentially even double in price by the time they're released from the time you buy them in early access.
I think the most popular example of this for someone who plays console and relates to this is Minecraft. Minecraft was fucking early access. Holy shit. I don't know how many years before it actually released the full thing.
I mean, I was playing Minecraft for years before it ever even knew what a console was.
Yep. Okay. So you have more game variety is one argument to be made, and I think it is true, especially on the indie side of things. The amount of indie content that you can find on PC is absolutely blows away what's available on console.
And as far as AAA titles go, you generally get those on PC as well. Xbox, especially Xbox console titles, are almost always on PC now. PlayStation, sometimes it's actually becoming more and more common for even PlayStation exclusives to come to PC. So it's looking like soon PC would be the definitive place to play both consoles exclusives, because now, right, you got Journey is on PC, right? That's never been on a Microsoft console. The Unfinished Swan is on PC, another game that never came to Xbox. All of the David Cage games like Heavy Rain, Beyond Two Souls, those I don't think were ever on Xbox. PlayStation exclusives now on PC.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I could see potentially even like The Last of Us coming to PC at some point. I wouldn't be surprised if that happened.
Yep. Okay. So the argument is you have more game variety. Another thing that I will say that I think kind of gets lost a little bit is included in that $300 price for, like in this case, the Series S, also is a controller. So that's my peripheral, the only peripheral I need to play. If I'm starting from scratch, I'll need a keyboard and mouse.
I'm assuming that was included in your $1,800 price point.
It was not. In the place where I am getting that for reference, what's the name of that website you sent me?
I don't PC Part Picker.
PC Part Picker or something like that. Kind of gives you these options of, like, depending on what you're trying to hit, different builds you can make. And so the one I found, there are two I found that were like, okay, probably, and I'd want to probably do the 1800 me personally. And so that's where I'm getting
but we're looking at trying to match console performance, right? Because I don't think you need to pay $1,800 to match console.
No, I'm not trying to match console performance.
He's saying to get better.
Yeah, it has to be better than console for me to make the investment, because it's more money, basically.
But
so
right, okay.
If I am even if I'm going to spend, let's say, $1,000 on desktop, and this is part of the thing I'm trying to pull out of you guys, is that the argument I often hear from PC people is like, well, there is a significant investment. Almost everyone who does it tells me that. There's a big initial investment to get set up, but from there it's cheaper, they argue.
Yeah.
Would you say that? You think that's true?
Absolutely.
Well, because on a console, every generation, you don't have to buy a whole new console. You just need to buy a couple parts.
Well, like,
How much do those
look at
parts
this,
cost?
dude. So the NVIDIA just announced their new series of graphics cards.
Yep,
3070, 3080, 3090. The 3070, the cheap one, which I believe is going to run for $300, is
the scalper
better
one?
than the
It hasn't launched
1080 Ti, which is the current like best
Or the
best
2080 Ti.
2080
Okay.
Ti, which is the
Okay.
current like standard graphics card.
Best thing.
Best thing
Oh, okay.
besides like the super expensive ones. It's the current
It's the
like best
high
thing
end.
besides the super
It's
expensive ones.
Yeah.
Right.
It's
So
like the high end, but the one that you would get, not like the Titan.
right, not
no
like the
one's buying
Titan.
a
Yeah, yeah. So if I pay $300 for a 2070 or for a 3070 or whatever, I'm going to get significantly better than console performance for a longer time too.
Yeah, I was gonna say how long have you guys experienced going with a graphics card?
I mean, right now
Jim?
I have my 980 Ti that I've had for 5+ years at least, and
980.
yeah,
Oh,
I have
yeah.
an old graphics card and it still performs better than like it runs all the console games better than consoles do.
Yeah, and I'm
What-
be real.
how mu-
I built my
yeah, go ahead.
computer recently, so my parts aren't as old. So like I'm still running I'm running a 2070. So like I get pretty good performance here. Like honestly, I don't need to upgrade to a 3080. I just want to.
Okay. Graphics card is one part of the equation. How long has your guy? How much does RAM cost?
RAM
And
is
upgrading
super
RAM.
cheap, and you basically
RAM
never
isn't
have
a
to
lot.
upgrade.
You get I mean, honestly, most stuff you can even pass with 8 gigs. But if you want to be safe, 16
I
gigs.
mean, I've
and
had
if you want to be
16 gigs of
overkill,
RAM for 10
32.
years. 10 years and never
Yeah.
had to replace it.
Yeah.
Like same whatever
The
it must
same
have been
sticks of RAM.
DDR3.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it was fine.
Okay. What about CPUs? How long do those last?
CPUs last forever. Like you don't have to basically ever change. I could still run. I have an i7 from like 10 years ago, like I said, and it's run fine the whole time. I mean, I'm probably
Yeah.
gonna upgrade soon just because I want to, but not because I need to.
Yeah, most games don't take advantage of multi-core. So if you have like a decent clock speed on your processor, you'll be fine.
What is that clock speed? Do you know?
Like anything over like 2.2 gigahertz.
Okay.
I
What
mean,
about-
in games, the graphics card is doing most of the work generally,
Yeah.
unless you're running like high refresh rate, like 280 like FPS or some shit like that. Like
Right.
you don't have to. If you're just aiming for like 60 or 120, you're fine. Even 100, yeah.
I was gonna say like if we use like 120 frames per second is kind of the
Yeah.
benchmark. Not
And if
it
you're
doesn't
doing
have to be
4K,
ultra.
It matters even less.
I mean, we should use 60 as the benchmark since there's not even really good evidence that the human eye sees like the 120 compared to the 60.
And also,
Well, like what I
because
Yep,
nothing
go ahead,
plays
Max.
in 4K at 120. Like, where do you go? Like, even with like the new graphics cards, like most like the AAA games, you're not gonna be playing in 4K at 120 frames per second.
I don't think it's really a question of can my eye see it. It's more of my input does technically get processed in half the time than as a 60 compared to a 60 frames
If
per
the
second
game is taking
simulation.
advantage of it, yes.
If the game is running at it. Yeah, if the game is developed to handle
care,
time that way.
correct, which
Yeah.
is not always the case.
True. Not always the case. So there are some other parts, right, involved in the event that you upgrade to a certain CPU or something. You might need a new motherboard or something
Generally,
like
when
that.
you upgrade your CPU, you upgrade your motherboard.
And what's the generally inexpensive hundreds of dollars? What was
motherboards
it?
are hundreds, but you barely like you don't
Yeah.
really buy a new one unless you're building a new computer.
Yeah,
or you're changing out the CPU, which
you
you said
generally you only
have
do
to
if you're
do
building a new
basically,
computer.
time. So what it
Basically-
sounds like. Yep. Go ahead.
if you're replacing the CPU, you're building a new computer.
Right. It's basically like you're changing the graphics card, and that's the only thing you'll ever change, and maybe your peripherals
Yeah, maybe you'll add extra RAM, but I mean, at this point,
or storage
unlikely they were
space.
adding RAM for
A
long
huge
time.
thing, right? Is that you can add
Storage
storage
space
space,
is probably the most likely thing that you're
Yeah.
going to be upgrading.
and it's super cheap to do so, right? Like I just added a terabyte SSD for like to $100 or something, and like I could do that again so easily without right.
Yeah, I definitely think expandable storage is going to be cheaper on PC.
And
without a
storage
doubt.
in general is just cheaper on PC. Yeah, if you go internal, if you don't care about SSD, you can get like fucking 10 terabytes for like $100.
So what I am hearing is if I did do my PC that I want to, my $1,500 or $1,800 PC, It'll probably last me 7 years, 7 to 8 years.
Probably more.
Yeah, it's certain parts, right? Maybe there's certain parts of it, the graphics card or something within there that I might want to upgrade within 7 to 8 years.
Maybe.
So,
assuming things get more graphically intensive.
Right, it depends.
Cool.
We're getting close to that, whatever it's called thing. So
the Uncanny Valley thing.
no,
Where they're trying to push past that?
That's with robots.
you know what I'm talking about. The like speed of computers reaching the like singularity of
Moore's law.
Moore's law. Yeah.
No, yeah. But let's say not Moore's law. Not considering Moore's law. We are things are more or less going to be as they have been in that regard. It sounds like over 7 to 8 years, it's definitely going to last, and maybe in there somewhere I might want to sneak in a graphics card update. How long? Skylar, I think, sounds like he's much more he's less inclined to upgrade some of his stuff than you are, Josh, because you were saying you're upgrading just because you feel like it. Can you say why you feel like it? Is it because you're
here's the thing. Okay, so I play in VR, so now I have an Oculus Rift S.
Okay.
So I do notice, like, in VR, I have frame rate stutters sometimes. If it weren't for that, I would have, like, no real reason, except maybe I have a 4K monitor, so maybe to make my performance a little bit better on that front, because the 2070 does struggle for 4K, but most people aren't playing in 4K for the most part. I mean, so, like, if you're running less than 4K for VR is basically most of the reason
why you're
I'm
upgrading.
upgrading.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense. I have, just for the record, I have upgraded my graphics card once since I built my computer. So,
Yeah.
but that was because I
say,
wanted to. Yeah.
Okay.
But like
So-
for you, Anthony, like you would upgrade your GPU probably at the end of the 7 years, not before then.
Right.
Potentially,
Especially if
right?
you got
Yeah.
like a 3070 if you're paying $1,800, you're gonna be getting like a 3080 or a 3090. You're not gonna get a 3070. So then, yeah, you definitely wouldn't have to upgrade before like 7 years.
my style, if my monitor, right, that there's a reality in my particular case, which I think other people need to consider too. A console, it's going to work on your TV, blah 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 blah, and you're going to get like your TV's not going to probably be holding your console back from what it can do, because consoles are designed that way. But there's a chance that you might buy a PC that is better than what your current monitor can put out. So you might need
I actually
an upgrade
think with
on
the
that.
next generation of consoles, we may actually get to a point where people's TVs are holding them back from reaching their console's performance.
Yeah. I think so too. My TVs aren't, which is why I kind of said it. But I think people who aren't, maybe.
I mean,
People
you have
are
a
just
full-time
going for
job and you buy TV, you lease a new TV like monthly from Best Buy.
Yeah.
So like, I don't
mean,
think
if my
you're
kid
like
puts
the
a hole in
normal
it, I'm buying it.
example. Just for example.
Yeah, I don't. I just still when I go looking, right. I just recently, when I moved in this house a month ago, bought this one that's hanging here on my wall, and it was $250 or something. It was a 55-inch TV, and it has 120 frames, 120 hertz refresh rate. So
Right, which is lower than the normal refresh rate of like the good refresh rate that PC gamers want. PC gamers are
no,
generally at
absolutely.
144.
I'm saying from console perspective,
Yeah.
it's going to be able to handle what the consoles are putting out. That being said, the point being that I think another thing is upgrading the peripherals surrounding the PCs. I think for me personally, I would have to budget probably a couple $1,000 for this PC that I want to get.
Oh, you mean like I thought you meant to upgrade peripherals over time.
No. PC and peripherals, right?
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
a couple K.
I mean, I paid like $2,200 total for my whole setup, and I haven't had to get a new monitor the entire time. I've had two monitors the whole time. I've upgraded my mouse a few times, but that's cheap, like $50 and $50 to $100, and then keyboard, same thing.
So I just want to cool, right? Now, the one thing before I say the console thing, of course, a person may decide to get something less good, for sure, absolutely. But again, from my perspective, as somebody who's in my shoes, who is like, hey, I would want a PC for something better than what I could get on console, and if I'm gonna make the investment, like let me make a good one. I think a couple K.
I think you could spend $1,500 and make a setup that's better than current consoles.
Yeah, I don't think that's
with
bad-
peripherals.
wrong.
With peripherals.
Yeah. So 1,500 to 2K.
I don't think you would be happy with it, but I think that someone who's just looking
somebody
for it to
could.
perform better than consoles, like with because of the 3070 being so cheap, that actually is making it very possible.
So
we haven't even seen AMD's offerings yet.
It's true, yeah. If they're trying to compete, they might release something even cheaper.
So here's the thing. Cool, 1,500 to 2K. Like, I am sorry, but it's just not close to what I spent the last generation on consoles with the Xbox. I still have my day one, whatever it was, 500, I guess the Xbox One was. Xbox 7 years later. I think that was 500. I bought a couple of controllers since then, right? And I've paid for Game Pass for 3 years. So I think I am approaching probably $1,000 spent over this last generation, right? I would probably say, all things considered, the gaming, Xbox Live, which then got morphed into Game Pass and all that stuff. So all the subscription services added. So the thing I like, especially now
actually, I take back what I said. I don't even think I think 1,500 is too high. I'm pretty sure you could spend less than 1,000. And make something comparable.
I don't think so.
Yes. $300 for a 3070. You would pay probably $250 for your processor, so that's $550. You pay like $100 for the RAM, $650.
You don't even need to pay $100 for the RAM.
What do you mean?
You could the RAM for cheaper.
Cheaper? So how much for the RAM do you think?
80.
80? So yeah, so that's like $620. And then
How
power
much RAM
supply
is
is like
that?
$100. That would be like 16 gigs of RAM. Power supply is 100.
I think if you get it cheap, you get it 80.
Yeah, like so that's like $720. And then what else do you need? Storage, probably another 200. So yeah, definitely. I think and that would be like $900. Yeah, I think you could definitely go under 1,000, if not even lower, if you need less storage. Like honestly, you could just have a terabyte SSD that you pay like $100 for. So actually, you could probably get it for like $800. I think.
Yeah,
maybe
I
even
think
less.
So. Based
But
off of what
you
I can
happy
show
with
you. I can
low.
build it right now if you want.
Yeah, you
but
can
the thing
build
is,
it, but
Anthony would
I don't
want,
think
like,
that's
I'm
Water
not
cool,
interested in what
like,
Anthony wants.
RGB,
I'm just trying to
like-
build something that will perform at equal, well, slightly better than console. The new generation of consoles, and that
I think for
that
the
would do
same
it.
amount for 1,000, that's fine. But right now, so after the generation ends, I would match that. That's not even true, because if I bought the Series X with the Xbox monthly access, that includes Game Pass. That's $35 a month. It adds up to be what, $840 over 2
Right.
years,
So-
and then you're done.
Right, so you're spending equal, and then when the next
spending
generation,
less.
of consoles come out, you're spending like
You do it again.
no,
Yeah,
no, you
so
don't do it.
No.
You don't do
No,
it
you
again.
don't.
You spend $300 and that's it.
No, I'm saying if you're a console gamer, you do it
Right,
again.
and I'm saying
So-
for PC, you're just spending a flat 300 or so, if that.
Yeah,
you may not
so-
even need to upgrade the next generation.
So if a PC can last longer than a generation, it can potentially. I don't buy that your $1,000-ish PC you're talking about is going to last me a generation. The thing I was going to say is that, in my opinion, it is definitely still more cost effective to do the console over the same amount of time. The difference that you get, the premium you're paying for, is a better experience and a bigger variety of experience on PC, which is not a thing to dismiss. It's in fact a reason potentially to do the investment, is because you want that premium experience. Like I was saying, that's why I would want that, is because it's better than PC. It's better than consoles.
Wait, but I mean,
Go ahead.
if you have a PC, you have to have a PC anyways. Like,
Yep, so there's-
so
Exactly.
you're already going
It
to be
can
paying
be-
out like $200 at least for a computer.
It can be justified as an investment in something else. I wouldn't say that the average person needs a gaming tier PC, to do
no,
their
but
shit.
you need a PC. So
But
you
you
So
do-
can't
yeah.
basically,
subtract
Josh
that
is
from the
saying you
cost
could subtract
overall.
that from the total investment because you would be investing that
Yeah.
anyway.
Yep, you could argue it that way for sure, to justify the investment. But as just a gaming purchase, like for again, in a person like me, I do have PCs that do my stuff. This is a new thing that I am doing primarily for the gaming purpose. I don't think it's cheaper than consoles over a course of a generation play PC at a similar spec range. But now this is also an optional.
So
there's
I'm actually going to disagree with you there. I'm looking right now to build for $527.96 that I think could run comparably to consoles. I would need to upgrade it slightly. So it would probably be like $700.
Yeah, and that's just
that's cheaper than your console
over the course
investment.
of 2 years.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Not including peripherals.
Correct. Yeah.
So it's probably the same. So we would have to know. We have to, maybe if you guys buy enough merch, we could build one and we can do a test for you.
It's true.
But yeah, I just don't think, especially at like that monthly price point now that Microsoft has, it's undeniable. Now, here's another thing though that I will throw in that I am considering doing. I'm sure other people are considering doing in this case. One thing that you mentioned, which in the Microsoft's case is completely true, in Sony's case is like half, not even half, quarter true, and becoming maybe more true. If both platforms really offered all their games on PC, then it is a better investment, because if you wanted to play all of those same games on consoles, you would need to buy both consoles. You would need to buy an Xbox and you need to buy a PlayStation to play both games, in which case now the investment doesn't make as much sense. Especially if the games are, it absolutely doesn't make sense if the games are available on both platforms. The games are available on PC. So,
which is why consoles have exclusivity, because otherwise, who would buy them?
Yeah, that's like kind of why you see last week at that Sony press conference at the end of the Demon Souls, I think, or is the Final Fantasy, it said also available on PC, and then they retroactively updated the trailer to not include that.
So funny.
Yeah, and later they specified it is coming to PC. It's just like whatever 6 to 8 months later or whatever.
Right.
Yeah, it's delayed exclusivity. Yeah.
Yeah. So in the world, I think, where Sony does jump all the way into PC, then you should invest. If you want to play both of the games that these platforms offer, you should get a PC. In fact, I would argue that the optimal play here this generation is, if you have a PC, play Xbox games there, and then buy a PlayStation to play their games, because all of Microsoft's games are on PC.
It's true. Yeah,
So,
there's definitely no reason to own an Xbox console and a PC anymore.
No, zero. Don't do it. So,
and Microsoft knows it. That's why they have Game Pass.
True. Yeah.
Yep.
It's so they can capitalize on everybody who owns a PC, basically.
Yeah, we won't talk about it here, but we've talked about it before in this podcast. If you're listening and you're interested about the shakeout on the economics of consoles and how much they lose money on hardware and everything like that, quite frankly, it's in Microsoft's best interest if you don't buy an Xbox, because they lose way less money on you than if you just subscribe on PC. But anyway, beside the fact, the point I think is clear is, if you want a premium experience, here are the things that I think justify the PC investment. One, like Josh said, if you are in the market for a PC anyway, and you're kind of debating, do I upgrade it a little bit more so that I can also get the premium gaming experience tacked on there? That goes a long way in justifying an investment into PC, a good PC, in my opinion, because you have real world maybe reasons to do it. On top of that, if you are looking for the premium experience, that's not debatable. You can push PCs as far as you can. Did you guys see that guy who ran Doom 2016 at 1,000 frames per second?
No, what?
Yeah, he had to use liquid nitrogen cooling.
Yeah, I saw that.
You can literally push these things as far as you want to invest and take them, and there's a bigger variety of experiences. VR actually included. PlayStation has a VR, but that's actually something that, like, Microsoft has said they're not interested in like supporting in significantly on the console side of things. So, like, if you want a good VR experience, you need a good PC, in my opinion. And in the long run, Skylar's been running some of his things for 10 years. You said one thing?
Yeah.
Your processor?
This whole PC is almost 10 years old. The graphics card is like the only thing that's not.
So
how old is your graphics card?
It's a 980 Ti. So it's
I literally bought the 980 Ti when it came out. So let's see. Release date
5-ish year.
2015. 5 years. Yeah.
So, over the long term, I think it will start to. How have you guys ever built a new PC, had one, and then built a new one?
Yeah. This one is new from 10 years ago.
How long did it take? How long do they last, would you say, before you build a new one?
I mean, I like to build a new one every 7 to 10 years, but that's just because I like upgrading. But you don't have to.
Well, I think a lot of people might feel similarly in some regard. It's nice that you have an option. That's definitely a nice thing about PC that you don't necessarily get with consoles. When it's better this generation, Microsoft being really backwards compatible and stuff, but a lot of times you will have experiences that you cannot get without buying the new thing, right?
Yeah.
So that maybe has changed a little bit with the recent change. Now, what about Nintendo? Josh, do you have anything to add to this conversation about, like, if you just want to go ham on Nintendo?
What?
If you want to go ham on Nintendo, just go ham on Nintendo. Yeah.
But like, I mean, they're a very different. They target a different market, kind of, than like consoles do, or even than especially different than PC, because it's a mobile market, right?
Yep.
It's all about like being able to take your games with you on the go, and they do a good job. I love that they still use cartridges and that the game isn't downloaded onto your Switch because you have no memory for that if it was. But yeah, that's like the thing that I have. That's the trend that I am most dissatisfied with in gaming in general, is the transition to like digital only. I do not like it. Yeah, just it costs more in the long term because now you have to pay the equivalent amount of storage space that you need for the game. So really, it is kind of an extra cost on the player, as opposed to previous generations where everything was on a disc or on a cartridge.
Yeah, it's the usage of physical medium as essentially just a DRM device is silly. I'm like, let me just play it from the fucking DVD. Okay, that would be nice, you know.
Yeah.
Especially,
but, I mean, games are too big now. They don't fit on a DVD.
Huge. Yeah. You
Yeah.
remember back in the day when you had the PlayStation like 4-part discs, like Final Fantasy VII?
That shit
like
was
4 discs?
funny. Yeah. They released a disc version of Flight Sim. Do you know that?
Yeah, like 10.
10 discs, I think.
It's like 10 discs. Yeah. So I
don't even have a disc drive in my PC.
I had one and I bought my new hard drive and didn't have a like cable for it, so I just took the hard. So now I don't have a disc drive. It's in there, but it doesn't work anymore. It's a hard drive now instead.
Now, last little thing I wanted to just touch on was the U.S. Department of Labor and some shit. I'll find it here. Labor and some shit. They did a study, I think it was in 2015, and essentially the summary is they deduced that the average hobby for an American costs $55 a month. Okay, that's the amount of money they shake out over the course of the year. And I just wanted to ask you guys, especially with this conversation in mind, do you think that you spend $55 a month on gaming?
I spend more than that, probably.
Really?
I probably spend more as well.
A game is more than $55. One game.
Do you think you buy a game every month?
Maybe not.
$60
but
game?
there are some months that I buy more than one game.
Okay.
Let's
So
see.
it probably balances out.
I'm here. Okay.
I can take a look-ski. Hold on.
I was a little surprised by that one. Bureau of Labor Statistics. Sorry, that was the number. Hobbies run around $630 per year, $53-ish per month, so $55-ish.
Oh, 600. Yeah, no. If you're taking into account like the cost of hardware and the cost of games, you're spending more than that probably. Is my guess.
But on an average, I'll take it easy on PC on this one. On average,
I'm not even including PC. I'm talking if I'm just going to talk about my Switch, just one console. I'm not even going to look at my PS4. Just talking about Switch.
What do you?
No, not on hardware. On software. On hardware, it's forget it.
It's like nothing.
It's basically. Like it was $300, and if I were to have a Switch Lite, it'd be $200, right? Yeah. So like, but like, for example, okay, so this month I bought Mario 3D All Stars, right? Next month I'm probably going to buy Shin Megami Tensei 3. The month after that I'm going to buy Hyrule Warriors: Age of Calamity. The month after
Cyberpunk.
that, Cyberpunk. Oh my gosh, I didn't even think about Cyberpunk. Yeah, like see, I at least buy one game a month.
Okay.
Let's see.
Okay,
I'm looking.
yeah.
I'm looking right now how much I spent this month. So since September 1st, I have spent 16, 31. I bought a friend a gift. Does that count? No. Well, we won't count that.
Yeah, we won't count that.
61, 66. I've spent $96 in September on gaming so
Okay.
far, and that's
okay,
not.
so you spend more.
Yeah.
And would you say that feels average to you?
That's probably a little high. I would say I'd probably spend around 60. I'd probably buy about three $20 games a month, I would say.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think $60 a month is probably the least I spend a month.
So I wanted to just draw this distinction because I didn't think it was going to be that.
I
didn't think you guys
I'm not
would say
sure.
that.
I'm not sure, but I think that's true. Just because honestly, it's because the gaming variety is so good and the prices are so good that I'm okay buying like three $20 games in a month, right? If I think they're all
No,
good.
Cool. You
Yeah.
buy what you want, man.
Thanks, Dad.
It's more of the observation that I was going to say of over the course of the last year, the only games I've purchased because I have Game Pass are Ori. I think I bought Will of the Wisp just to support the studio. I haven't even played it yet. I bought Fall Guys because I wanted to play it with the stream.
Uh-huh. You bought Doom.
No, I Game Passed it.
Oh, Doom's on Game Pass?
It was, yeah.
Oh, do Game Pass games they rotate out?
Yeah, it's like Netflix.
Sometimes they do.
A bunch
Sometimes they do,
are
yeah.
leaving like really soon, actually. Yeah, I just saw an article about it.
Oh, we bought. Brittany just jumped in. We bought Animal Crossing
Yep.
this
Oh
year.
yeah.
That was I'll count that.
Yeah. You bought Red Dead Redemption 2.
Well, that was a couple years ago.
That what?
Yeah, it's 2018.
Was that long
Oh.
ago?
Yeah, that's crazy.
It's been a while.
But the point just being, I could count on my hand the amount of games that I've purchased. On my hands, the amount of games I've purchased, not on, that I haven't played through Game Pass.
Sure.
I think that if you're a Game Pass subscriber like me, I think I probably do beat this a month. I do beat the $55 mark a month. It's $25. Like I said, it's going to be. It actually, I had the Xbox One X All Access program, and that was like 2 years of Game Pass, 2 years of Xbox Live when they weren't bundled together, and the console. And I think that was like $35 a month. So generally speaking, I think I do beat this average over the course of the year thanks to Game Pass.
But
if I
what
didn't
about
have Game Pass-
microtransactions? You buy stuff in Rocket League sometimes, right?
That's true. I do buy things on microtransactions. I would say that when I think those are kind of bursts. Like I'm on Christmas break, I spend much more on microtransactions, kind of a thing. So I still don't think I hit 55, but I probably am more like in the 40s a month. So yeah, but like you said, the part of the reason why you spend more is because you've got access to this greater variety of content. You've got a higher quality experience of that content, which I don't think can be dismissed. If I already had somebody just gifted me a 2K PC, I would play the shit out of that thing, right? Like, the experience would be fantastic, high quality.
Just for the record, redaction. The 3070 is 500, not 300. So add $200 to all of my estimates.
Oh, okay.
Just so you
Yeah.
know.
Okay.
But on the bright side, you wouldn't have to wait like a whole hour to compile lighting.
If you hey, like I said, if you have other reasons to justify the investment, if you are a game developer, Toby's saying Game Pass is for poor people. Yeah, man, I'm all about it. Or people who are financially irresponsible,
Or people who aren't interested in making their own decisions about games. They want Xbox to tell them what to play.
That's right. Yeah, for me personally, a person who essentially up till starting streaming just plays Halo and Rocket League all the time and some Minecraft here and there, Game Pass has actually, for me, helped me try out different games that I would not have tried otherwise. And I think that based off of what Phil Spencer and that marketing team has said, they'd see their data shows that this is true for other people. People who are subscribed to Game Pass generally play more games, and it's through Game Pass, than people who don't have Game Pass, a wider variety of games, and at the same time also end up buying more things too. Game Pass also has a side benefit some people don't know, is that games are on discount if they're on Game Pass. So if you play like a game that's maybe rotating out, it's on discount while it's in there for the few months it's in there.
But then you've like double paid for that game.
I mean, as a consumer, yeah. You paid for the streaming service, and now you've paid again. Like I want to say the rates are more or less like a $60 game's discounted around like to 45, 48-ish bucks.
Right. So that's plus the right. Yeah.
So yeah, if you have Game Pass and you go ham buying shit, yeah, you're going crazy, man. You're just a savage. But again, also if you have that on PC, runs on PC, you get that.
You and me both, Toby.
My Steam account has enough games on it that I can run my own Game Pass, Toby says.
Yeah.
I feel, again, that seems to be pretty consistent.
Right? How many
games from Humble Bundle?
How many games are on Game Pass?
200.
Yeah, see, I have 714 games on Steam. Yeah. So if anyone wants Game Pass, just call me and they can pay $15 a month, and I'll Steam family share with them.
No, I think one thing that we've talked about before, I think it's another podcast episode, but it's in this new landscape of Game Pass. What happens to indie stuff, right? For PC users, I personally get the impression that the PC market is okay with spending money on these cool experiences, these innovative, many times experiences, doing shit that the AAA studios just don't do. But technically speaking, they are like a month of Game Pass is around the same price as what a lot of these indie games run at. Mm-hmm. So, PC saving indies, yes. But on the other hand, like I don't know, is there a world where indies somehow fold into all of this?
Microsoft, evil corporation killing indies? Yes.
I mean, I gotta plug Nintendo here because indie games do great on Nintendo and they generally sell for like double the price that they sell on PC.
That's so weird. Why? It's so stupid. They sell games so much more on Switch. So much more expensive.
What it is? People will pay for the ability to just like
play it
portability,
on Switch. To play it on the pooper.
To play it on the toilet is like it's the there's a certain kind of gaming that can only be done in the bathroom.
Mm-hmm. Cannot be understood. Dude, if you spend 30 to 45 minutes on the shitter every day, being able to play a game while you're doing it is great. It's fantastic.
Yeah, I play chess. Chess is my choice on the toilet.
Thanks to XCloud, I can play Halo Master Chief Collection. I just gotta make sure. I am literally shitting on people when I am playing Halo.
There you go. And with that, where can people find us, Anthony?
You can find us at kokoalaentertainment.com. There you have a link to all our social media presences everywhere. Instagram, Twitter. We do giveaways everywhere. But most importantly, Discord. Come join our Discord. Hang out with the freaking fucking awesome dudes
Agora.
And ladies in there. And as Skylar is hinting menacingly at,
Agora.
Get involved with a major entity in the universe of our upcoming game coming up for... Right now, planned for PC and Xbox, but we always would love
we'll see what happens.
To play it on the shitter. Yeah, maybe a Switch too at least. Getting on that PS5 goodness.
And because this is a meaningless phrase that doesn't mean anything, I will officially announce that our game is in pre-alpha.
Ooh, I don't think so. It's meaningful. Our game is officially in pre-alpha. More news on that front. Do you want to hear that news? Then go to our website, follow us on those social media profiles, and follow us there. You'll hear more from us there. Also, our YouTube channel. Get out more content coming your way soon.
The Josh Broncoli Switch amiibo coming soon.
Oh.
Yes. With that, offline cross-eyed.
Yeah,
image.
with that face.
Yeah, it's gonna be like a bobblehead.
Yeah.
What a mistake taking that picture was. I'll tell you.
It will live forever.
Also, you know the story behind that picture?
No,
there was like this like Instagram chain thing where it's like you would take like a silly picture of yourself and anybody who liked it, you would send them a message telling them that they had to do the same thing and then just delete it the next day. So I was like, what's the harm in it? So I did it. I deleted it the next day, and then it was Immortalized forever by Anthony.
He's
I was
too
like, wait,
quick.
Josh, why'd you delete that? Give that back, right, real
Yeah.
quick. And he's like, okay.
Okay.
I was like, okay, you're gonna make one meme. That one meme lasted forever.
I'm just saying,
apparently.
if you haven't
It's
been
now
to,
it's now an emote.
I cannot fucking wait for the amiibo. God.
if you haven't been to our
Oh.
Instagram, go there and scroll through and find the post of Josh, of cross-eyed Josh and handsome Josh. That's like my favorite Instagram post we
My
have.
gosh. Never posting on Instagram.
You and the
ever
guy
again.
she
My
worries
God.
about or whatever.
I've noticed all of your food pictures are missing you in them. Yes.
All right,
okay,
bye
man.
everyone.
Only I take
Everybody,
pictures only
last
of my
thing.
food now.
Last thing, everybody, this merch, if you are listening to this and somehow you hear it, it is literally
Fine.
going away tomorrow. Yeah, Josh, nice merch shirt right there, Josh.
It's
Wait,
not
I-
this shirt.
It's
It's a
don't ever say we held out on you guys when we become super big and famous and they're like, oh man, they saved all of their good shit for later. No, we brought the good shit right up front when we knew
That
nobody
good
would
shit.
come. The good shit. Toby's got the merch. You want to be cool like Toby? Get some merch. It's on sale right now if you hear this somehow before the sale goes away. Yeah, please consider supporting our studio by buying that merch. It directly helps fund all studio goodness. So
Woo. Goodbye.
that's it, everyone. Goodbye.